Hey guys, welcome to the new movie. Today we're doing Hot Eyes, the new Valentine slash. I just saw it. I know it's been out for a little bit. And yeah, I just saw it at the time of recording this. Like, obviously when I record these movie reviews, they could be after I've seen the movie. The movie already could be out. Sometimes it takes me a while to get to stuff. This movie is fun. It's a fun slasher. I definitely think it's good. I definitely think it's I don't know. This could be really good. It could be really bad. It's one of those things that could be good or bad. Like, it could be just generic or just like, I like it. I like a lot of things about this movie. It's not my favorite slasher movie, but I think it's not a bad monster slasher. It's like in the middle. I'm like, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's great. It's better than okay. I think it's a little better than okay, but I wouldn't call it like amazing or great, but I wouldn't say it's like bad, and I wouldn't say it's okay. I think it's in between like okay and like pretty good. It's like, it's pretty good. I think that's it's pretty good. I actually think it's pretty good. It has some interesting things, so let's jump into it. So without further ado, I think that definitely covered my general thoughts, so let's get into the movie. Spoiler warnings, because we're talking, usually I always say spoiler warnings before I start talking about the movies, because I don't know how much, because everybody's different when it comes to how much they want spoiled, and usually I talk about beginning movie to beginning to end, so usually I just say spoiler warnings when I start talking about the movie. So yeah, you can skip to the rating or whatever if you want to. But this movie is about, obviously, there's this killer called the Hot Eyes Killer, and he kills couples on Valentine's Day. It starts off with him killing this couple on Valentine's Day in the beginning, and then we kills like the cameraman, and then kills the bride who just proposed, and then goes after the girl and kills this other cop who's in the one, and he's like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Like, there's a guy coming after me, and then he kills, the cop dies, and then she gets died. Really brutally too, like this thing, and he kills stuff. And you find out who the Hot Eyes Killer at the end, but it was a kind of surprise. I was not expecting it, because they didn't do a very good job at not telling you who it is, because it's like, oh, the one guy I kind of like, he had a potential. There's only one guy who I felt like had potential, and when we get to that guy, I'll talk about it. But then it cuts to the main girl of the movie. There's these two cops. Also, I'm going to mention this because I think this, I don't know if that's before or after, but we'll just mention it now. There's these two detectives who are called Hobbs and Shaw. And then somebody makes a reference in, I think in the beginning, when they investigating the first scene, people who see die in the beginning, they're investigating that crime scene. Have you seen, and they talk about, like, hey, Hobbs and Shaw, and they're like the movie, and like, what are you talking about? Like, they don't know what the movie is. And Hobbs and Shaw, if you don't know the movie, I don't remember who made this, was it Sony? I forget who made this movie, like who, what studio, was it Sony or whatever. I wonder if the same company who did Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw is part of the Fast and Furious series. I think it's The Rock's character and what's his name? Jason Statham's character from Fast and Furious. I'm like, that's kind of fun, a reference to that. I get it. So there's two cops, one's a girl, one's a guy, and talking about stuff. And yeah, so then we cut to them, she talking about dating life stuff. But then we cut to the main girl. It's her, she works for this company where she does advertisements. So it's like an advertising company for like this jewelry company. So it's like, I think it's jewelry company, and she helps make like the ad campaign and all that stuff. And it starts off with her, she's in a coffee shop. She meets, and her friend's there, she has a friend there, and she goes to get a coffee, and there's this other guy who gets the same order, and he meets this guy, I forget what his name is called, it's called something with Jay, and I can't remember, even though I just saw like the yesterday, I don't know why I can't remember, Shame or Chase, I can't remember, but it's off with a J, and they meet, and then they kind of like have a little interaction, they bump into each other, like when they kind of pick up something, they bump into each other, and kind of makes sense, he's like, I gotta go, so he goes to the meeting, and he meets the guy there, and the guy's like, hey, you fucked up with this new ad campaign, because it's all about, till death do us part and stuff. I actually don't think the campaign is bad, but doing it during like Valentine's Day when there's a killer who's killing couples, maybe not the best look. I'm gonna say it completely out there, but I actually kind of like the ad. They showed the ads he made. I'm like, I kind of like that ad. It looks cool, it's fun. I like it, but that's just me. But also I like horror and all kinds of other stuff. So I guess that's a different take, and like kind of horror and other stuff. So I'm like, it feels different and it feels like out there. And I kind of like that. But yeah, I don't care about jewelry and stuff. But yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, but see, it's like telling you off. We need to get somebody to fix this whole mess that you got in, and the guy who he gets this big one, this big company, whatever, that does all this advertising stuff, he's very good at fixing this kind of stuff, is the guy he met at the coffee shop, and then they get to saying, and they meet and stuff, and then obviously they go out to dinner and then they have a fight, then they go outside and then they kiss because the boyfriend's there or something, and they kiss, the boyfriend is there and he wants to get, kind of be like jealous of him and stuff, and then we see somebody's watching them, and then we go back to the house, and then they go inside, and he breaks the door open to go into the place, to go into the house because it's locked. I'm like, okay. They're like, yeah, the landlord will be cool with them. I'm like, I don't know if the landlord will be cool if you breaking the door, but yeah. So they go up to her room, and then he has to fix his hand because it's bleeding on the bed. And there's this funny part where it shows him on the bed talking, and then she looks over and you see on her nightstand there's like a vibrator or something. I'm like, okay. In this movie, obviously will mention, it does feel like it's a slasher movie, but it has like comedic elements to it. Like it's one of those movies where it doesn't take itself seriously. It almost feels like an Evil Dead a little bit, not as hard as Evil Dead or Army Duck, but it has some like comedy into it. It's like it's a slasher movie, but definitely it's like has some more comedic elements to it. Where I'm like, okay, doing a slasher movie, but has some more comedic or jokey elements to it. It makes it kind of like goofy. I like that. I don't mind that. I think if it's done well, it's done well. I think if he has survivors, he has to like sneak around and kind of grab it so he doesn't see it. And then he goes opens up the closet to put it in it. And then obviously, like, Hot Eyes kills there and she like throws it at it and it falls to the ground and starts fighting. I'm like, okay. Yeah, that was just it's kind of funny, but I'm like, okay. I can see what type of movie we're getting into. And then when the Hot Eyes try to kill him and they lock it or shut the door or do something, then they go outside and go back to the cab because they grew in the cab here. And the guy told him to wait for him. I'm surprised he's still waiting if they went up inside and did all this stuff. But he gets shot and dies. I'm like, oh, that sucks. He seems like a nice guy. So a lot of people in this do die. Like people who are even related to, like, even though they just kill couples, anybody gets in their way or has anything who's near them there, usually could be collateral damage. And the one thing I'm surprised, and it's not really a spoiler, I get a little spoil, I don't know, but the main girl's friend, he didn't die in this one. I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, cool. You don't have to kill all the main characters, people they know. It's like you're killing more like nobodies of people other than most of the people who die are like nobodies of people who are like they're there to be killed. That's kind of the gist. But they eventually chase after these guys. The Hot Eye Killer comes after them. It goes after him and I think Jace. Is Jace the name? I don't know. But they go after them and then eventually Jace gets knocked down and falls to the ground and she runs off. Kind of like abandons him, but also like there's a killer after you. I think there's a little bit of a thing. So I can't be completely mad that you ran off. Then they have an argument and they realize because the mayor go around, they chase him and do stuff. I'm talking about this movie way too much. But then eventually he stops him enough, at least gets him to where he goes away because cops show up and then he just escapes. But then we find out like, Jace, the boyfriend, they're arresting him because they think he did it. And I was with Jace the whole time, trying to break his alibi. And then the cops take him in and then they go and, interrogating him and stuff about stuff. And he's like, hey, I want to know what's going on, And eventually the lights go off and then obviously there's this person up front, this cop up front, older lady. And then there's this guy who's like, what's it called, the killer? The Hot Eyes Killer shows up and kills her. And then goes after, then she runs off, the main character, and tries to get help from the other two cops. And then one of them, Shaw, the one girl's like, hey, I'm gonna go and find out what's going on. The girl one, I forget which one's which. I work with which one's Shaw and which one's Hobb, but she goes, I think she's probably Shaw. She goes off, because we get around. She goes off, tries to fight the guy, and it shows the killer, and then cuts. It doesn't show him actually killing her. Like, maybe you cut off and he's like a bang or something. I'm like, okay. So, and then you do come back, and she does have a cast on layer, so I was like, okay, maybe she's not. She got hurt, but didn't kill him or something. I don't know. Seems a little weird. We'll find out later. Yeah, it's not what you're gonna think. But then we find out also there's this technician in the beginning when she was not the beginning, but when she was asking the person like, hey, what's going on with my boyfriend or guy I was with? He didn't do anything. There's a technician there. Well, I'm like, okay, that technician definitely gave off a vibe. I'm like, you feel like a character that you gave off the vibe of the killer, and I'm like, I have a vibe that you might be the killer. I'm just getting out to you. You're the only guy who has the possibility of being the killer at that point. That's the only person who I was like at that point was like has the possibility of being the killer. But then it gets to the point where after they escape the police office, the other guy dies, the other cop guy dies, the other detective guy, the guy just died, and I think he gets him right in the balls. I was like, oh, that's the worst. You died from the balls. You got a sword, like a machete right up the balls. I'm like, oh fuck, you're dead. And then they go to this place, and it's obviously everybody thinks they caught the Hot Eyes Killer because obviously he's in jail, so everybody thinks they caught him. So like everybody's out having fun doing stuff. Then he goes to this drive-in, and then they go into this try to hide from the Hot Eyes Killer. It's like, oh, we just brought him. He kills couples. And we brought him to this drive-in with a bunch of couples. We brought him to like the slaughter. It's like this is a slaughtering fest because he's like anybody here he could just attack and it would be like fine. So you get there, they hide into this car van with people having sex. You see like hippie people kind of on drugs having sex. And eventually the Hot Eye Killer comes in and kills them. They have to try to escape and it's like the girl's like, hey, we brought him here. We killed the people. We gotta do this together. Come on, we gotta do this together. They go and fight him and they do kill him. And then they obviously can't handle blood and blood got on him out. She throws up all over him. So I'm like, okay, because when she throws up all over him, it's another moment where I'm like, okay, this is definitely. You can tell it's more comedic. It's a slasher movie that has a little more comedic to it. Well, I liked it. It was fun. I don't mind comedic stuff in horror movies, especially like slasher like this. It can be a little goofy and fun with it. I'm like, okay, be a little goofy and fun with it. That's fun. First of all, this guy pull off the mask and you're like, you don't know who this is. You find out later who it is, but because it's still more to the movie, then the cop comes, takes care of him. It's like, hey, do you want to ride with me? Takes the boyfriend to go on a ride with him, and then he eventually goes back to his house to go on an airplane because he's going to meet this person for the wedding. That's the other thing. He was going the next day for a wedding, but then he goes back to the girl goes back to her house. He's like, I gotta go to the airport. I made a mistake. This is the best thing that ever happened to me. She realizes that I have to talk to her friends. He goes to the airport and gets a call. I'm like, and it's the Hot Eyes Killer. I'm like, oh, he's not alive, and we have your boyfriend. So you're like, what? They already killed him. So what's the deal? deal. I immediately went out, I'm like, okay. For some reason I was thinking maybe because in the way the voice was saying it in the on the phone, maybe like, oh, maybe the boyfriend is actually the hot killer and there's like two of them. But then when we get there, he's like, it sounded like he was tied up, but when we get there, the boyfriend had nothing to do with it. He is tied up and he's like in like, obviously they done stuff to him, like hurt him a little. But yeah, they have him there, and then we find out who the hot killer is. We open up he comes out and does his spiel and then takes out the mask, gets the IT guy. I'm like, I called it. You want the IT guy. He is one of the killers. I'm like, but then who was the other guy? But then I was like, did the hot killer kill the cop? What happened? Then we find out the lady cop is also the hot killer because it's a pair, or like I think it's like a trip. There's three of them, because there's the two, the girl and the girl detective and the IT guy. They're in love. They are in the thing. The other guy who died earlier, who they killed, was like a super like fanboy and stuff, who was really into it, and that's the king. So he was like a fanboy of them and stuff, and that's who he was. He was part of it, but he was more like a fanboy kind of thing. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So he died, but great. And then they have to fight these two, and they're in love, and they're like all kink. And then you talk about something like, yeah, all kink is killing people, killing couples. Killing couples. I'm like, okay, with kink. I'm like, not kink. I don't kink shame, but I'm like, I think killing people or couples, anything, I can be like, yeah, no, that's not okay. I think I'm not against whatever gets you going, but I think killing people or couples, killing anybody or even couples is like a point where I'm like, I think we can go the line if that's not a kink I can be like get behind. I think most people can get behind killing couples or anybody. It's not a kink anybody can get behind, but it's fun. And then they have to fight them at the end here and kill them, and they do kill them, and they do die in pretty violent ways, but it's fun. And they eventually show them 1 year later, and they're together and stuff, and they're working for the company, and she's gonna leave and go get her doctorate and become a doctor, and they're like, she's gonna become a doctor again, and she got over her thing of blood at the end. Like, hey, you got over your thing of blood when they were fighting the two guys at the end of the blood. It's fun. It's a fun movie. And then after the credit, they go to the theater at the end, we grab a theater again and watch a movie. And then it cuts after the first set of credits. You have the first set of credits for the more fancy kind, and you have the after credits that point in between the two credits, which is a little shot of somebody with a camera calling her on the phone, and it's like, oh, the hot killer, and it's like, nope, it's her friend doing like the camera thing, like in the beginning of the movie, where the guy trying to take the camera and do the perfect shot, and she gets in, and like, it's okay, that's fun, kind of like homage to the beginning, and fun, and showing a friend. I'm surprised the friend didn't die, but I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, we didn't have to show her die. Yeah, so let's get into the rating of this movie. I give this a 7. I think it's definitely not the best horror movie. I wouldn't say it's like an 8, but I definitely give it a 7 because it's still pretty good. I enjoyed it. It has some funny moments. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's a fun slasher. I think it's a good... We're getting better at making slashers that are not super like boring or like bland or stuff, but it's good. We get some good slashers. We have this. We have the Thanksgiving one that came out that was good. That was a good slasher. We also have I haven't seen it, but the Terrific... What's it called? Terrifica. They have 3 movies of it, like with Art the Clown. I'm like, yeah, that's not one that I've heard good things about. Looks fun. So yeah, they're all good slasher movies today, in this day and age. But yeah, this movie is fun. Like I said, give it a 7. What you guys think of the movie? Let me know in the comments down below. You guys can always stay epic and let me know what movies you've been seeing or what you've been watching in the comments down below, movie-wise. You guys can always stay epic. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.